Guys, welcome to the Bless Girl podcast show. Hope you're doing awesome and staying safe. I'm here to welcome you to my first ever episode. I hope you love it, share it, and enjoy it. So, today we are going to talk about someone who is a runner, is someone who believes in sustainable life choices, and definitely contributing a lot towards environmental health and fitness. She's one of the person I was really fascinated when I spoke to her because the spirit and the perseverance she has towards anything she does really drives me to talk to her more. I really would love to welcome Shilpi Sahu to my show.
Thanks, Swan. So I would like to know from you that first of all, encouraged you to start as a sustainable lifestyle? I think it would have started in around 2010. I think I was, I don't think I was doing anything sustainably at that point. I mean, anything special, different from what others do in terms of managing waste or commuting or involving myself with anything, any social cause. I think it started with composting and running. So, and both started near around the same time. Running actually started earlier.
Okay.
So you were a fitness enthusiast first, and then you started with the sustainable lifestyle. You have to do something about those things. Yeah, I mean, fitness wise, I think I always understood the meaning of staying healthy and fit. But those are the things people take for granted till they get some issue and then they start. But usually by then it's late. But then I used to run in school and of course not long distances or anything, but I know that how it feels when you're active versus when you're inactive. Right. So through school and college, I was always quite active and I used to enjoy running. So I started quite late. I mean, in terms of long distance running, like a 10K, it was a very long distance for me. So, but I started because I felt that, okay, my friend can do it, so I can also do it. Yeah. So, but when I did that, I went for TCS 10K in 2010 with very little training, with a sprained ankle and all that. I managed to do it. It was not too hard. So I'm trying to know that how much you clocked that point of time, 2010. That was 1 hour 12 minutes. Wonderful. Yeah. So it was not very fast. It was not very slow. Fast. And it felt very good. The important thing is it felt very good. And I was like 32 years old. So by that time, usually people say you have settled down and your body will start to break up. This is what people will tell, that all your running playing days are over in your teenage and 20s. Yes. So they say things like that. Right? By 30, your kids should be grown up and you should be only worried about work and home, nothing else. So when I started doing that, I felt like I was really feeling good both physically and mentally. And although it took me some more time, few more years to get into a rhythm to exercise regularly, but I realized that I really enjoy running. Yeah. And also then I realized that what people say about exercise and all, it's all, they don't have any experience in it. They just say things because they have heard it somewhere. Yeah. So the same thing, I think I began to really question many things around. So and then 2010 is also when I started composting. I read about the newspaper that there is a company called Daily Dog and they give out composters. So I went and bought it. It is not expensive. Yes. 600, 800 rupees, which is nothing actually. Even 10 years back, it was 600 and 800 rupees. The whole idea of keeping your waste at home and composting it, I thought, what is there to lose? It's something to try out. If it doesn't work, then okay, fine, you can throw it away. Absolutely. Right? Anyway, you're throwing it away, so you'll throw it after failing for a couple of months. Yeah. But actually, then I realized that it was not difficult. Of course, it takes some time to perfect the art, that how wet it should be. And then what happens when it goes wrong? It will stink or it will attract some insects. Then you figure out how to solve that. So, most people, I think, give up very quickly, or they expect that it will all work. And that works for actually almost everything that you do in your life. If you start something, there will be a learning curve. Yeah. Right? So whether you start running, whether you start composting, it's all the same. Absolutely. The person who doesn't fail is the person who keeps trying. Absolutely. Right? Wow. The moment you stop trying, you have either succeeded or you have failed. Most likely, that's why you stopped. Absolutely. So I started posting that time, and I don't think I was perfect to start with, but it became better and better. And it's like in Indian climate, heat, right? So what was the steps? Like you would just
usually just take your kitchen waste and just put it and compost it. That's it, right? That's
I would just put the kitchen waste and I'll add some sawdust or cocoa peat. There is nothing else is required actually. It is a self-sustaining process.
Yes.
And if composting was something very hard at an individual level, you'll not be able to sustain. But actually, it's
Absolutely.
easy.
Yes.
Especially in Indian climate, it's very easy. Then the other thing is you realize things like it is more effort now for me to throw it away and not compost it.
Absolutely.
And then putting things in a plastic bag. I realized that the whole idea of putting things in a plastic bag actually makes the waste smell.
Absolutely. Yes.
And greens, the vegetable waste, if you mix it with plastic and other thing, it actually stinks. But if I keep it outside in a bucket, open bucket, nothing happens actually. It will rot slowly. It will, it doesn't smell. It's just, it's just a decay. And decay is not bad, it's the same fruits and vegetables you're eating and they suddenly don't become so toxic that you can't touch them.
Absolutely. So was there any resistance from home or neighbors or, like I see a lot of people having a concern like that kind of a thing that,
those are all mental concerns, I think. People think that it will be a problem, but they themselves did not try it. And then, you should, first of all, you should be ready to fail at it, right? And then do some research to figure out, what kind of composting you're doing. Are you doing aerobic, anaerobic? Both are different methods.
So what is anaerobic?
Aerobic composting and anaerobic composting. So aerobic composting is composting in presence of oxygen, and anaerobic composting is composting in the absence of oxygen.
Okay.
So which is mostly called a Bokashi method.
Okay.
But both can be tried out in individual level. I think Bokashi is it's a two-step process. The first step is anaerobic and second step is aerobic. And for some people that works out better. But I think if you have open areas, I think aerobic is better. And even nowadays you get composters that you can put in your balcony and then you put
daily compost. Daily compost
has it and it looks quite nice. It's in my drawing room balcony. Nobody realizes that it's a composter. And sometimes so aerobic composting usually doesn't have any smell. And it takes about some 2 months to breaking down, but there are few things which take longer. So I can't, given that I have a very small space, I cannot handle 100% of my waste, but I handle about 90%, 80 to 90%.
Yeah, I think which is excellent, which is really excellent, because even if you're taking care of 90%, just the 10%, imagine the volume of waste which is going out. So even if I start doing, or my neighbors start doing, or people who are listening to us doing it, just with the 90%, I mean, the results would be incredible. It can be something which can be very big.
I feel there is no need to be perfect at it. Even if you're imperfect at it, it is fine. It's better than not doing anything. And actually, because I'm not a very good gardener, it's not like I grow a lot of things, but I realize that my plants survive now. Earlier, I just could not keep anything alive. Now some things are alive. And that's only because I add compost and water. I don't really do anything else. And because it's a very small garden, right, very small balcony, I can't get anybody to come and, give any gardening services or something, because it's such a small balcony. And usually these things are possible for people who have bigger terrace gardens. So
absolutely, that's very nice.
And the other thing is, worst case, composting, you have no takers for compost, go and put it under a tree, put it in your common garden. That is also fine. It works.
Sure.
And it's easier. Like I said, right, it's much easier for me to compost than to not compost. Like I have to give it in a bucket to the housekeeping staff, and I do give out sometimes some big things like the pineapple, which I can't fit inside my composter. I do give it out.
Sure. So now, since you are sharing that it's been 10 years now, and you have been running and you have maintained this lifestyle. So if I ask you, this is something where we could have, and it's so much possible that we take care of it. So do you find anything kind of like that kind of a hindrance or anything which you feel this could?
I think people are not. They don't connect the dots that why there is so much waste on the road versus what action can I take to reduce it. Partly it's also the government. It's not that if all of if my apartment, let's say everybody starts composting, what would happen is that our apartment's waste management will become easier.
Yeah.
But also that most people don't like to change.
Yeah.
They like doing things the way they have been used to doing, and also how their parents lived, and they don't like changing.
More of conditioning part.
And other thing is, they think that how are they affected by not composting? They are not affected. See, somebody who is affected by our waste is staying in the outskirts of the city, and that person is living next to a landfill. Our waste is going there. You are, unless you are affected by what waste you are producing at a local level, you will never even feel the need for it. There is no compulsion to start composting. What do you get when you compost and you fail? What is the motive that makes you try again?
Yeah.
For some of us, it is just curiosity and the fact that we want to see it working. And that, and also, in my case, I like to try out things.
Yeah. So it was never a struggle for you. I mean, it was never a challenge that, this is something, it's not a hindrance. I'll just keep trying. I'll keep going. It was like that for you. Was it like that?
Yeah, I was like, a cauliflower stem is supposed to break down. It will break down. So let me keep it. What will happen? Flies will come. Flies did not come.
Yeah.
Rat will come. Rat also didn't come. So
yeah. So it's very nice. Yeah. I think
the lizards came because lizards like the insects which grow inside compost. And the good thing is the lizards don't want to come inside the house anymore. They want to stay near the compost. So there is an ecosystem there which the lizards are controlling the insects.
Sure. And so I think sorry, you said something.
And there are different kinds of insects which come to compost. It's not houseflies. It's a different set of insects which don't cause any disease. So I
think they are more of like a healthy for the soil, is what I have been reading and understanding. The soil. And
there is a black soldier fly maggot which grows inside the compost. It doesn't grow anywhere else. It grows only inside compost. And the smell of that maggot keeps the houseflies out. So in that balcony, I do not have houseflies. If they come from the other balcony.
Got it. So, I mean, in a way that the kind of dedication you have shown to this lifestyle, or the perseverance which is required, I think it shows in your running as well. And being a runner for almost like 10 years now, you simply run very seamlessly 3 hours 30 minutes, and it's of course an effort from the body, but what I meant was somewhere when you run, I've seen you running, and I know from the various events. So there is always a seamless running. It's not like too much of effort. So I would love to know that does it come with a lifestyle which you have maintained because of that, or you have chosen also you prefer plant-based meal, right? You go with plant-based diets and you go with more of healthy choices. So has it happened because of that, or you just train very well in your race? What is it?
So, so connecting these two things. So let me start with the running first. So running, when I started, of course, it was not easy to run. And my first 10K was very slow and easy. And I took breaks wherever I felt tired. I took breaks. So I think it's more about taking your body along with you. You cannot put your body through a lot of stress. If you do, then you will get injured. And I have got running injuries. By injury, I don't mean that falling an injury. But of course, a running injury, your body is not used to that kind of physical activity. So you have to take it along slowly. And you also have to build some mental resilience in addition to physical resilience. So I feel that you cannot continue doing something which you find very hard. If you enjoy something, number one, and secondly, if you find that it is doable, you are more likely to keep doing that. Any exercise, whether it's exercise, it's work, anything, it applies to everything. If I find driving very difficult, I can't do it. I drove for a number of years, and I said that it's not for me, it's not working out for me. I'm just finding very stressful here. So I don't drive anymore. I can drive, but I don't drive. So when it comes
So
to
you cycle.
running,
We would love to hear more on that as well. Yeah,
yeah,
cycling to work.
so something that you haven't done before. 10K, of course, I didn't even bother taking advice on whether I should run or not. I said, let me try it out and let me see whether I can do it or not. When I did it, I ran my first race. I felt that, okay, it felt tough, but it felt good. It was not so hard that I felt sick afterwards. I didn't come back and sleep for 10 hours. No.
Yeah.
I had a very normal day after. So, and it took me a long time to get into a habit of running regularly. But once I did, I ran a half marathon, then a full marathon, and all.
How much gap you gave for yourself, like from 10K to 42? How much the transition was?
10 to 21 was, I think, about 2 years.
Okay.
And once I started running half marathon, I was a little more regular.
Okay.
And after half marathon, maybe one more year, I took doing full marathon. I had no plans of doing full marathon. It just happened.
Okay. So you were not looking to it? You were not looking
No, I thought 42 is very long. Who's going to run so? So even 21K felt like never ending, the first one.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I used to be not so regular in running. I would run some days a week, and I had a small child. Whatever I could do, I would do. But then slowly, it's about these multiple years of running, right?
Yeah.
Body also starts getting used to it.
Yeah.
So after that, yeah, I think once I started running full marathon, I slowly became more and more regular. But I would say that my mileage has actually increased over the years and increased very comfortable, because I would of course try to do intervals, workout.
Yeah.
But wherever I would feel that, okay, I can't do it anymore, I would stop.
Got it.
Or I would take a break, because whenever I didn't do it, I would get injury. And there are times when you're not doing anything very hard workout, but still you get injured.
Absolutely.
So in those times, you have to just rest and do physiotherapy and figure out what went wrong.
Yeah.
So it's been, I think, a very gradual increase. And
so do you keep any journal, like a running journal or anything like,
So if I'm training for an event, I follow some kind of plan and I try to stick to it.
Okay.
And then again in the plan, there are some workouts I feel like, okay, I can't do them, they're too tough.
Yeah.
Then I would skip it or I'll make it easier. But typically, when there are no events, like during the past year, I didn't really run any. So there I would simply pick a plan and try to stick to it. And at the end of it, I'll just go somewhere and run that, like 21K. I took a 21K plan on the net. I mean, I don't have a coach or anything, but I just take the plan, run it, and then I would go and do that distance in some place. Around Agara Lake or Kaban Park. So more like a time trial. And so that way I know that, okay, I am training, maybe not at a very high intensity, but I am keeping fit, because otherwise I don't have that exercise, and I'm not going to work, so I'm not cycling also. So it feels good to stay active and not sit all the time.
So how does the journey for cycling to work started for you? And you came up with a lot of, you involved a lot of cyclists as well with you. And I see, I think at least Friday you try to go work, at least cycling. And I think it's very frequent for you now than what it was. So
actually, cycling I do only for commuting, and I started cycling about 10 years back to work, only to work.
Okay, so and you started everything more or less 10 years from like back. So was it like overwhelming, because you started so many things, like you're running, your compost part, and then this also, cycling to work. So was it like too much of a change, or it was fine? It just went insane.
Yeah, it is fine, and compost is getting done in the balcony, and running is happening once in a while. So, but running gave me confidence that, okay, if I can run 10 kilometers, I can cycle 10 kilometers, because cycling is easier, right? So, and also that time I wanted little more, predictability in my office commute. I didn't want to get stuck in traffic jams and all. So I said, okay, I'll get some exercise also, but more importantly, I can leave whenever I want, and I will not get stuck in traffic jam. So that's how I started cycling, and I used to cycle quite not very often, once a week, twice a week. But then traffic kept getting worse and worse. Then it came down to a point that I could not drive or take a cab. It just became too bad. So I said, okay, I will cycle every day. Let's see what happens. Worst case, I'll become tired and I'll work from home on that day. That worst case. So that's how it started. And then So the Cycle to Work is a platform actually started by Satya Shankaran. He's the bicycle mayor of Bangalore. So this was made to track how many cyclists are actually commuting to work in Bangalore. And it is not just Bangalore. Actually, the portal is it covers many other cities, countries. So,
So did you approach to the mayor, or how was it? Or you just?
no, I just know him. So he
Okay.
said that okay, we should since you people are cycling to work, why don't you get your colleagues to also sign up for it? So all they have to do is track their mileage to office and back.
Got it.
It's a platform which will pick it out from your Strava. So whatever you track on Strava and on the platform, if you have registered and entered your office address, it is just going to track those rides.
Yeah.
So like that, it started like in 2018 October, and all of us started tracking. Then we realized that a lot of people in Bangalore cycle, despite all that thing about that cycling is dangerous. There are no roads to cycle and all. We found that in my company there were 200 people cycle on a regular basis, heavy traffic for cyclists. Yeah. And it is also very dangerous. It's not very cyclist friendly, but still people cycle because it's faster. It's faster than driving. Yeah. Maybe
so was there any resistance initially? Was there anything like, security wise you felt like,
no, I had
as a female?
No, I had no concerns.
Okay.
I think Bangalore is very friendly toward women in general. And of course, there are sometimes some incidents are there, partly because you're a woman, but also because you're a cyclist. People think you don't belong here. It's their road. Yeah. But the road belongs to everybody, especially if you go by speed, right? The cyclist is fastest among all. So I need the middle lane. Cycling is, between places. It's very, very easy. So this is something that I think, which is why Yulu also came up. Yulu bikes, right?
Exactly.
We realized that last mile connectivity is very easy through cycling.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Coming to plant-based choices. Now you choose to go with the plant-based meal, or how it started.
So I think veganism or plant-based diets. These things I've been hearing about, and as such, I'm not very fond of dairy. So I thought that why not try something different, and I found that it was actually good for me to avoid dairy, and or at least limit it quite a bit. I mean, again, I don't say that completely avoid something, can't even have 1%. I started noticing that if I was not having dairy, I was actually feeling better.
Got it.
And of course, dairy free doesn't mean that it's healthy, or plant based doesn't mean it's healthy. I mean, the idea is to have more whole food, plant based, and cruelty free animal, which avoids animal cruelty. So in general, I feel that there has to be many aspects about why you should make a change in diet.
Absolutely.
It can have multiple.
So what encouraged you? Was it just a random thing that you chose because of your sustainability affection? I should just try because I am not a dairy fan.
Number one thing is I want to try something. So I tried it and I said that okay, my stomach is better. And then people will say that okay, you're not getting calcium, right? You're not getting B12. But actually, then when I do tests, I find that no, everything is normal. So if I'm not having any dairy at all, like zero dairy, still my calcium level is good. So what does it mean? It means that I don't need dairy, right? And in addition, there is calcium in plant-based foods also. And there are people who have dairy and are calcium and vitamin D deficient.
Absolutely.
So there is actually people just go by what they have been told for many years. In fact, this milk revolution, when it happened, they started selling this that milk is good for you, and maybe milk is very good for person who is having malnutrition and does not have anything else, or maybe in limited quantities milk is good, and even Ayurveda says that ghee and milk is good, but
buttermilk is very good. Exactly.
They where the mankind will compare something which is meant to be taken as medicine is being taken every day, like food.
Yeah.
Right? See, if a medicine is working for you, it doesn't mean that you should eat it every day and you'll be healthier at the end of. Maybe too much of something is poison.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, so health aspect, I think a lot of people are not meant to have dairy. Just does not agree with that. And even while growing up, I could not have much dairy.
Got it.
I grew up practically without eating much dairy, but then whenever I would have it, I would have little bit of it, and that was okay.
Got
But
it.
then when I was pregnant, I was told that you should have so much of milk. I just could not drink it. I would have a stomach upset, so I just quit. I said I cannot have that. So I was given some powder, milk powder or something with lots of things added in it. I just had to throw it away. I took whatever supplements were required, and that was how I managed. And even my son has the same problem. He cannot have a lot of dairy, but once in a while he can have some ice cream or something, and that works. So in terms of stomach, I think quitting dairy really helped. Then another aspect is that yes, sustainability part. Environmentally, plant-based diets are what going to work out in future for most of the people. And because the carbon footprint of a plant-based diet is much lower.
Absolutely.
And the third aspect is the part of ethics and cruelty against animals, right?
Yes.
You would not take away milk from a human being, a human child, and give it to another human child.
Yeah.
So why would you do that to a cow?
Absolutely.
And it's not as if you're really taking care of the cows.
Yeah.
It's they are getting slaughtered because you want the cow's milk.
Exactly.
And so from all these aspects, I think even if somebody does not become a vegan and completely replace their milk consumption, I think it is you should just really limit it because it's not good for anybody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And of course there are people who have that level of activity that they need a lot more calories, a lot more fat. For them, I guess they can have dairy, but then I'm sure you can really limit it.
Yeah, or you can find alternates. I think
there are
absolutely.
so many alternatives quite easily available now.
Totally.
So you're not depriving yourself. See, anytime you feel like you're depriving yourself of something, you will not be able to continue it for long.
Yes.
So I feel that people should really try out things and see what works. They should also feel satisfied after having that alternative. Like coffee with cashew milk. It is very nice.
Yes.
And
it's tastier. I think it's tastier.
Cashew milk tastes very good with coffee.
Yeah.
People will still go for the same thing that dairy, which they are just used to it. But then if they have it, they realize only if you try something you'll realize that everything's good.
Yeah.
Because if nobody tried anything, then we would not ever make any progress.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a wonderful point actually, because change, it has to be constant, and there is no other choice to it. So coming to one of the thing which I also loved about so one of the thing the books you have been recommending all the time. So the Roar, one of the recently we connected on, and I did ask about it. So I mean, I just wanted to understand that when being a female, what are the, as far as our monthly cycles are concerned and everything. So that brings us to kind of a setback, or you don't want to go for your run and everything. So do you have any suggestion on those lines for our female listeners especially?
So I think monthly cycle is different for everybody. It's maybe a little difficult to generalize. So there are people who feel okay to exercise on their period days, and then there are women who don't feel like they should exercise. I think it's your own choice, and there is no right or wrong there.
Yeah.
If you run on a period day and you feel better after that, it means it's the right.
Yeah.
And if you feel very bad after that completely low energy and a lot of cramps, then maybe it's not the right. So apart from that, I think the fact that you have menstrual cups now available, I think it's really good for women who are very active, and not just for running, cycling, but people who are on their feet for a long time. Menstrual cups are very good, and plus they are also environmentally friendly. You can use a menstrual cup for like 5 to 10 years. So there is nothing to throw, and it's very easy to use. And whether you have light flow or heavy flow, both
ways it works. Absolutely great. What I want to understand is, when you see yourself, do you plan to go for a triathlete as well, or would you like to try that? Because you have tried most of
triathlon. I think it's not like I can't do it. It's probably healthier to be a triathlete, because you have three different activities. So you don't really, you won't get running injuries. You would, because these are cross training exercises. Right?
Yes.
But then I think it's the my deterrent is the time it takes to train for triathlon.
Okay.
First of all, running is, I think, gives you the most bang for your buck in terms of exercise, the time that you spent in it and the calories you burn. I think running is very easy. I feel like it doesn't take you too much of your time. It's something that you can do, like training for a half marathon while you are fully like having a full time job. It's possible. Most people maybe they don't go for full marathon, but they train for half marathon. But the same thing, if you know what is a half marathon equivalent of cycling, it's like 90 kilometers of cycling, right? Where would you train for it? Does our country have places where you can train safely for that? So people do train on highways. They go to highways and train. I think it's very dangerous. It's worse than cycling on city roads, because city roads people expect that there will be pedestrians and cyclists. On highway, nobody even has the patience for that, because our highways are meant only for vehicles. So I feel that it is dangerous. And secondly, the amount of time it will take to train for a triathlon, I don't think I have that kind of time. I can't go in the morning and come back in the afternoon. Right? I want my workout to be done in the morning.
Got it. Yeah.
And the other thing is access to swimming pool. A triathlon, you have to swim in open water. You need to learn, pick up a different skill, right? Swimming is a skill. You have to pick up. You have to practice regularly. So I feel that these are deterrents. The amount of time it takes to do it. I would go, splash in a water pool. I'll feel very happy about it. And cycling, I feel that okay, it's really good as commute within a city. But if I'm going outside the city, I will go in a car.
Got it.
For a train.
Got it. Great. So, just a last question to close our conversation today would be that 5 things which you really feel you are, since we are on a Blessed Girl show, 5 things you really feel about being blessed.
So, okay, I don't know if I can tell 5, but yeah, few things. I think right now, the fact that we have the freedom to try out, whether it's freedom from family or from outside, because I think women, even 50 years back, did not feel that they could just put on shorts and go out and run. They could not have done it. It would have been very difficult. Even 20 years back, it was difficult.
Absolutely.
So there is some change, social change, that makes it possible for you to go out.
Absolutely.
And not get completely beaten up and harassed, abused. People, and it is, I think it is, you have to thank women who have gone out and done these things, so that people know that it's okay for women to be outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And see, other thing is, I think financial status. Why is it that people who are blue collar workers, like waiters, your security staff, cooks, maids, why are they not able to get exercise? Because they are busy earning their living from dawn till night. You are able to take out that time, because you can say that no, I will not work during this time. I will work on my fitness. Right? They cannot. They don't have that luxury. There are people who work as maids. They get up in the morning, they cook for their family, then they come and work in 10 houses. By the time when they go back, they don't have any time for exercise. They actually need some exercise, because they are bending down and working and all that. So they need rest also, but they also need good nutrition and exercise. They just don't have time for it. They are just busy making their living.
Absolutely.
So you have to be thankful of your social status, that you are able to delegate some work, get some work done by your, you're either managing with help of your spouse or with hired help. You have to take cognizance of the fact that you are getting time to do what you want to do.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
And then the what's the third thing? I think third thing is that you have to be grateful for your gift of your body and mind. Right? Because there are many people who cannot do this because they have some issues. They have some problems. Of course, there is way to get better from there, but then we all have our physical and mental, some disabilities there, that you will have some issues in your body, but then it's allowing you to
sustain
do what you
endure
and also sustain it and endure it. So both body and mind, actually,
wonderful.
both are important.
Totally.
So in terms of body, let's say, of course, when I started 10 years back, I could not run for more than 10 minutes. But now I can run for an hour. I don't feel much. And so it means that my body has evolved over the last 10 years to tolerate the stress of running and not feel too stressed. Mind does not feel stressed also.
Rather find the joy in the running, being
You
feeling
find the
stress
joy.
free.
But then, so earlier also I found the joy, but I was much slower. And I could not run for a long time. But now I can run for a long time and yet I can find the joy in it. So what has changed from then to now, that you have trained your body, you have trained your mind. But but there are a lot of people actually who have not been able to do that. Either they have given up. They say that, okay, running is not for me. Will run slow. I will run less. No need to run. But there are people who have actually had injuries or they have had accidents and they cannot do it. And it can happen. You think that it can't happen to you, but it can. Something like that can happen to you. So every time you go and run a marathon and you do some hard workouts, you have to feel little grateful that, okay, I could do it.
Yeah, I could stand it.
That I did not die while doing it.
Thank you so very much for giving your precious time and sharing such a wonderful insights. And I'm sure our listeners are going to get a lot of value add. And
Thanks, Swan.